Did you know that Amish grow perfect crops without a single drop of pesticide, and their soil is richer than yours after payday? Stick around, because this ancient farming wisdom could change how you think about food forever. Hey everyone! I've spent the last few weeks diving deep into Amish farming communities, talking to experts, and reading studies on sustainable agriculture. What I found? Totally shocking. The Amish aren't just avoiding chemicals. They're using science so advanced, it's almost like nature's own secret weapon. In this video, I'm going to show you how they build soil that grows more food with less water, how they control pests without poison, and why modern farmers are secretly copying them. Trust me, this isn't your average gardening hack. This is farming at its finest. Oh, and before we dive in, drop a comment. Have you ever tried growing your own food? How did it go? Let's hear your stories. The secret beneath your feet: soil health. If you've ever walked through an Amish farm, you might not think much about the ground under your boots. But what's hiding beneath that surface is nothing short of magical. You see, Amish farmers don't just grow crops. They grow soil. Rich, dark, living soil that's packed with life and nutrients. And it's this soil that gives them the power to grow thriving plants without a single drop of chemical pesticide. Most conventional farms have topsoil that's only 6 to 8 inches deep. That's not much when you think about how hard the soil has to work. But many Amish farms, their soil goes down 12 to 15 inches, and it's as black as coffee grounds. This isn't magic, it's science. Slow, steady, and deeply rooted in nature's rhythms. The Amish call this method dark earth, and it takes time, about 2 to 3 inches deeper every decade. That means some of these fields have been built up over generations. Picture that, farming like your great-grandparents did, but better. Because while modern farming strips the land, Amish farming feeds it. So what makes this soil so special? Let's break it down. Organic matter. In regular farms, you'll find about 2 to 3% organic matter. That's crumbs compared to what Amish fields offer. 8 to 12%. That's like going from white bread to a rich chocolate cake. One feeds you, the other barely counts as food. Organic matter comes from things like compost, manure, and old plant roots. As they rot, they feed the soil. And when the soil eats well, your plants do too. But there's more than just rotting stuff at play here. There's life. Loads of it. Amish soil is alive with what they call the soil health triad. Fungal networks, bacteria, and earthworms. These three work together like a perfectly tuned engine. Fungi stretch out like tiny threads, connecting plant roots and helping them share nutrients. Bacteria jump in to break things down even further, making sure the food in the soil is ready for plants to eat. And then there are the worms. Earthworms are the real MPVS of Amish farming. A healthy Amish field can have 25 to 30 worms per cubic foot. That's a lot of wiggly workers. They dig tunnels, which help air and water get deep into the soil. They eat dead stuff and poop out nutrient-rich castings. Basically, free fertilizer. One Amish farmer once joked, "We don't have to feed our worms. They're already on the clock." But building this kind of soil doesn't happen overnight. It's done by hand, season after season. Manure gets spread regularly. Cover crops are planted to protect the soil when the main crops are done. Old plants aren't burned or thrown away. They're left to rot and feed the next round of growth. This kind of farming might seem slow, but it's strong. Year after year, the soil gets richer. Weeds struggle to take hold. Plants grow stronger. Pests lose interest. Everything starts working together instead of fighting. And here's the best part. The Amish don't need fancy tools or expensive chemicals. Just patience, observation, and a deep respect for what's happening underground. They know that if the soil is healthy, everything else follows. They also rotate their crops carefully. Different plants pull different things from the soil, So by switching things up, they keep the balance right. Corn today, beans tomorrow, squash the next season. Each plays its role in keeping the soil happy. Some Amish farmers even use a mix of animals to help build soil health. Chickens scratch the ground, mixing in manure and breaking up pests. Cows trample weeds and leave behind fresh fertilizer. Ducks hunt slugs. Every creature has a job. You won't find bare dirt on an Amish farm. There's always something growing or covering the ground. Mulch, leaves, straw or cover crops. All of it protects the soil from sun, wind and rain. And when the soil is protected, it stays soft, moist and full of life. It's easy to overlook soil. After all, it's just dirt, right? But for the Amish, it's everything. It's their most valuable tool, their most reliable partner. Their silent partner in every harvest. And the results speak for themselves. While other farms battle poor yields and tired soil, Amish fields stay green, rich and productive, without a single synthetic spray. Because when you grow your soil first, your crops will follow, naturally, beautifully and abundantly. Planting like nature intended, companion planting and timing. You might check your phone for the weather forecast, but Amish farmers read the signs written across the landscape. Their ability to time planting perfectly comes from watching nature's cues, not apps or calendars. For example, they follow a method called the 3 Kings rule. They count 72 days after January 6th, Epiphany, and that's when cold weather crops like peas and lettuce go into the ground. This timing lines up with nature's rhythm, not man-made dates. Then there's the oak tree test. When the leaves reach about 1 inch long, roughly the size of squirrel ears, it means the soil has warmed to around 55 degrees. That's the signal to plant tomatoes and peppers. No need for thermometers or fancy tools. Just look at the trees. Even the moon gets involved. Root crops are planted during the waning moon, when the gravitational pull encourages downward growth. Above-ground crops like corn go in during the waxing moon, when increasing moonlight helps them grow upward. Some might call this old-fashioned, but Amish farmers don't care what you call it. They just know it works, and it saves them money. After all, the Amish Moon app is completely free. Companion planting is another big part of their success. Instead of growing just one crop in a field, they mix plants that help each other. Corn grows tall, beans climb up the stalks and put nitrogen back into the soil, and squash spreads out on the ground, keeping weeds down and holding moisture in. This ancient technique creates a mini ecosystem where every plant plays a role. It's like having neighbours who always bring something useful to the potluck. Only these neighbours never leave, and they keep giving year after year. The Amish also use certain plants to repel pests. Marigolds, garlic, onions, and herbs like basil confuse bugs with their strong smells. Sometimes they even stop pests in their tracks. Tall sunflowers are planted every 25 feet throughout fields. These aren't just for seeds. They act as natural barriers that block flying pests. Plus, birds love sunflower heads, and those birds eat insects that might otherwise damage crops. It's like setting up a neighbourhood watch, except instead of people, it's plants and animals working together to protect the farm. Timing matters more than most people realise. If you plant too early or too late, pests can take over. But Amish farmers have fine-tuned their planting windows through centuries of careful observation. For example, corn is planted exactly 14 days after the last frost. This gives the seedlings a chance to grow strong before the first wave of pests arrives. By the time the second wave hits, the corn is tough enough to survive. And it's not just about avoiding pests. Timing also affects flavour, yield, and how well crops store after harvest. The Amish know that planting at the right moment makes everything easier later. They also create microclimates by positioning windbreaks around their fields. These natural barriers change the temperature by 3 to 5 degrees. That might not sound like much, but in early spring or late fall, those few degrees can mean the difference between a good harvest and no harvest at all. A skilled farmer can walk their land at dawn, notice how dew forms on grass, watch bird behaviour, and study cloud patterns. One traditional saying goes, "When chimney smoke falls instead of rises, expect frost by morning." These folklore-based predictions might seem outdated, but they're surprisingly accurate. By working with these natural rhythms instead of fighting them, Amish farmers rarely need chemical sprays. Their crops grow at the right time, in the right conditions, naturally. And while modern farms rely on expensive equipment and synthetic chemicals, Amish farmers rely on patience, observation, and an understanding of how nature works. Because when you plant like nature intended, you don't need to force things to grow. You just help them along, quietly, carefully, and wisely. Ready for the next section on water wisdom. No pumps, just gravity. Water wisdom. No pumps, just gravity. You might think managing water without electricity is impossible, but Amish farmers have cracked the code, and they do it all with gravity, observation, and a little help from the land itself. When rain falls on an Amish farm, it doesn't just run off into ditches or get lost to evaporation. It gets captured, stored, and used like a precious resource, because that's exactly what it is. The secret starts with something called swale and berm systems. These are shallow ditches dug along the natural contour lines of sloped land, usually about 18 inches deep. Every 30 feet, the soil removed from these ditches forms raised areas called berms on the downhill side. Here's how it works. When it rains, water flows into the swales and slowly soaks into the ground instead of rushing away. This builds underground water reserves that crops can tap into for weeks after the last rainfall. It's like creating a sponge in the earth, one that drinks deeply during storms and releases moisture slowly over time. Amish farmers take this even further with something called keyline design. By positioning their water catchment systems just 1 to 2 degrees off the natural contour of the land, they allow water to move slowly across the landscape. This spreads moisture evenly, preventing puddles and dry spots. No pumps, no wires, just smart design and a deep understanding of how water moves. And then there's the math of it all. On Amish farms, every roof becomes a water collector. A single 1,000 square foot roof can harvest 600 gallons of water from just 1 inch of rain. With multiple buildings on a typical farm, a single storm can capture thousands of gallons, all without spending a dime on technology. But storing water is only half the battle. Getting it where it needs to go, that's where gravity does the heavy lifting. Amish farmers position water storage tanks 12 to 15 feet above their fields. From there, water flows naturally downhill through pipes or hoses, giving them full control over irrigation. No electricity required. Imagine if your electric bill worked that way. Instead of paying for power, you just let gravity do the work. Sounds pretty good, right? Mulching also plays a huge role in water conservation. A thick layer of organic mulch, about 3 inches deep, reduces water use by 60 to 70%. That's because mulch acts like a blanket, keeping soil cool and moist while slowly feeding nutrients back into the ground as it breaks down. Straw, leaves, wood chips, all of it helps trap moisture and protect plant roots from the harsh summer sun. It's like sunscreen for the soil. During a recent drought, many conventional farms were running irrigation systems around the clock just to keep crops alive. Meanwhile, Amish farms kept thriving with minimal extra watering. Their fields had become giant sponges, soaking up rain when it fell and releasing it slowly when it was needed most. This kind of resilience isn't magic. It's planning, it's patience, and it's proof that sometimes the simplest solutions are the strongest. So next time you worry about your garden drying out, remember, you don't need fancy gear to grow great food. You just need to work with nature, the Amish way. Ready for the next section on pest control without chemicals. Nature's Army. Pest control without chemicals. Nature's Army. You might think bugs are the enemy of every farm, but on Amish land, insects are part of the team. Instead of reaching for chemical sprays, Amish farmers welcome nature's own cleanup crew, beneficial insects, birds, and even backyard poultry. These natural allies work 24/7 to keep pests in check. No gloves, masks, or warning labels required. One of the most powerful tools in their arsenal? Beneficial insect habitats. Amish farms don't just grow food, they grow homes for pest-fighting bugs. Every field has what's known as an insect highway, a 15-inch wide strip of wildflowers planted every 150 feet. These corridors allow ladybugs, lacewings, beetles, and other tiny warriors to travel safely across the farm, hunting down aphids, mites, and other troublemakers. And it works fast. Just 7 ladybugs can wipe out all the aphids on a cabbage plant in just a few days. That's better than most commercial sprays, and without the side effects. But insects aren't the only soldiers in this battle. Birds play a big role too. Amish farmers strategically place beehives every 600 to 800 feet around the edges of their fields. Not only do these bees pollinate crops, but they also attract birds. And those birds eat pests. Tall sunflowers are another clever trick. Planted every 25 feet, these towering plants act like fences that block flying pests from spreading through the field. Plus, their heads draw in birds that feast on harmful bugs. It's like setting up a free restaurant for your best pest control helpers. Then there's the feathered cleanup squad: chickens, ducks, and guinea fowl. Each bird has its own specialty. Chickens scratch the soil, eating up pest eggs and larvae before they become full-grown threats. They're especially good at controlling flea beetles and cutworms. Farmers often rotate 25 chickens per quarter acre, moving them every 3 to 4 days so they clean each section thoroughly. Ducks are the slug specialists. A single duck can eat between 50 and 150 slugs a day. During wet seasons, when slugs go into overdrive, releasing ducks at dawn keeps them under control naturally. Guinea fowl take on ticks and grasshoppers with unmatched efficiency. A team of just 10 to 12 birds can clear an entire acre of ticks, making life safer, not just for crops, but for the people working the land too. It's not just about bringing in the good guys. It's also about making life hard for the bad ones. Amish farmers use strategic planting patterns to confuse pests. For example, they'll grow marigolds, garlic, onions, and basil between their main crops. These plants have strong scents that throw pests off track. Some even repel them completely. Basil planted near tomatoes reduces tomato hornworm damage by 68%, better than many chemical sprays. And the bonus? You get fresh herbs for dinner. Even crop layout plays a role. Instead of vast fields of one plant, which pests love, Amish farms grow 15 to 20 different crops each season. This diversity makes it harder for pests to spread quickly, and if one crop is hit, others usually survive. This approach also includes timing. Corn, for instance, is planted exactly 14 days after the last frost. This gives the seedlings time to grow strong before the first wave of corn borers arrives. By the time the second wave hits, the corn is tough enough to handle it. When pests do get the upper hand, the Amish have backup plans. If cucumber beetles attack squash or tomato hornworms show up, they switch to fast-growing replacement crops like radishes and turnips. Ready for harvest in 30 to 45 days. And if part of the harvest gets damaged? No problem. Slightly bruised apples become cider, misshapen cucumbers turn into pickles, and soft tomatoes cook into sauce. Nothing goes to waste. Because instead of fighting nature, the Amish work with it, using centuries-old wisdom, careful planning, and a little help from their animal friends. Ready for the next section on resilience through diversity and community? Resilience through diversity and community. Amish farms don't just grow food, they grow resilience. While most modern farms rely on just 1 or 2 crops, Amish fields are full of variety. You'll find 15 to 20 different crops growing side by side, each playing its own role in the big picture. This diversity isn't just for show, it's a smart strategy that protects against disaster. Imagine if a storm wipes out your tomato plants. On most farms, that's a big loss. But on an Amish farm, there are still peppers, squash, beans, and more thriving nearby. No single problem can take down the whole system. It's like investing money. You wouldn't put everything into one stock, right? The same idea applies to farming. By spreading their bets across many crops, Amish farmers ensure that even when something goes wrong, there's always something to harvest. This approach also helps with pests and disease. Monocultures, huge fields of the same crop, are like all-you-can-eat buffets for bugs. But mix things up with different plants, and pests get confused. Some won't even stick around. And then there's the seed vault. In Lancaster County alone, Amish communities maintain over 1,200 heirloom vegetable varieties, passed down through generations. These aren't just old seeds, they're powerful tools. Many of these plants have natural resistance to local pests and weather conditions. They've survived droughts, storms, and decades of change. That kind of genetic diversity is rare today, but it's a lifeline when modern crops fail. But resilience doesn't stop at the edge of the field. It extends into the community. When one Amish farmer has a bad year, neighbours step in. If a late frost kills the early tomatoes, another family might share their extra zucchini. If a hailstorm ruins a patch of corn, someone else opens their barn doors to help store what's left. There's no formal insurance policy, just trust, tradition, and mutual support. It's like having a built-in safety net made of people instead of paperwork. Food preservation is another key part of this system. Amish families know how to keep food safe without relying on freezers or supermarkets. They use 7 main methods: canning, drying, fermenting, freezing, when available, smoking, curing, and root cellars. So when the harvest comes in fast and furious, nothing goes to waste. Bruised apples become cider. Slightly damaged tomatoes cook into sauce. Odd-shaped cucumbers turn into pickles. Even the way they sell food shows this mindset. Imperfect produce, the stuff that looks weird but tastes great, gets sold at a discount. Customers who care more about flavour than appearance score deals, and farmers still make money from food that would otherwise be thrown away. It's not just about surviving tough times, it's about bouncing back stronger. This kind of thinking is why Amish farms rarely face total failure. Their soil is strong, their crops are diverse, their animals help control pests, and their people look out for each other. It's not just farming, it's a system built to last, and it works beautifully. Modern farmers can learn too. You don't have to live without electricity or wear plain clothes to benefit from Amish farming wisdom. In fact, many modern farmers, and even backyard gardeners, are quietly adopting pieces of the Amish system. And the results? Impressive. Studies show that when small to medium-sized farms blend Amish techniques with smart modern tools, they see 15 to 25% yield increases. That's not just a little better. It's a big deal for anyone trying to grow food profitably or sustainably. One of the easiest entry points is what experts call the edge effect. By planting diverse strips of flowers, herbs, and native plants around their fields, conventional farmers can attract beneficial insects without overhauling their entire operation. This isn't just theory. A recent Cornell University study found that adding 18 to 24-inch wildflower borders around traditional fields brought in more ladybugs, lacewings, and pollinators, and reduced pest problems by nearly 40%. That means fewer pesticide sprays, lower costs, and healthier soil. All from something as simple as letting nature do part of the work. And you don't need acres of land to try this. Even urban gardeners can plant marigolds, basil, and sunflowers between their veggies to confuse pests and support good bugs. Another powerful idea modern growers can borrow is strategic crop diversity. While most farms rotate between just 2 crops, corn and soybeans for example, Amish farms grow 15 to 20 different crops every season. This makes total crop failure almost impossible. If one thing gets hit by disease or pests, there's always something else thriving. It's like having insurance, but instead of paperwork, you have peppers, squash, beans, and more. Modern market gardeners are starting to catch on. Some now include trap crops, plants that pests love but aren't meant for harvest, to draw bugs away from valuable produce. Others use companion planting to boost growth and flavour naturally. Even livestock integration is making a comeback. Rotating chickens through garden beds helps control pests and adds natural fertiliser where it's needed most. Ducks patrol slug-heavy areas, and guinea fowl help keep tick populations down, especially useful for farmers who spend long hours outdoors. What's really exciting is how these methods stack up against climate change. With more extreme weather patterns, longer droughts, heavier rains, unexpected frosts, Amish-style water conservation, soil building and microclimate management offer real protection. Their swale and berm systems soak up rainwater during storms. Their thick mulch layers reduce evaporation in dry spells. Their windbreaks shield crops from harsh winds. These are low-cost, high-impact strategies any farmer can adopt. And let's not forget about timing. Amish farmers don't rely on apps. They watch oak leaves, bird behaviour, and moon phases to know when to plant. Sounds old-fashioned? Maybe. But their success speaks for itself. Some modern farmers are blending this wisdom with tech. They track frost dates, moon cycles, and soil temperatures using spreadsheets and sensors, combining centuries-old knowledge with digital precision. The key takeaway? You don't have to go fully off-grid to grow better food. Just borrow the best parts. Start small. Try planting a few rows of companion crops. Add some mulch to your garden beds. Set up a rain barrel under your gutter. Test one idea at a time and see what works for you. Because the truth is, Amish farming isn't about rejecting modern life. It's about choosing what truly matters: healthy soil, resilient crops, and a farm that thrives year after year. And if you're looking for proof that these ideas still work today, just look at the fields. Green, rich, alive. That's not magic. That's Amish science. And it's available to everyone. So there you have it. The Amish aren't just avoiding pesticides because of tradition. They're doing it because they've mastered a farming system that works naturally. From building rich, living soil to planting in harmony with nature's rhythm, every step is intentional. Every choice supports the next. It's not about rejecting modern life. It's about choosing what truly matters: healthy food, resilient crops, and a farm that thrives for generations. They don't need fancy sprays or expensive equipment, just observation, patience, and a deep respect for how nature works. And here's the best part. These methods aren't just for Amish farmers. You can apply them in your own garden, on small farms, or even at a community level. Whether it's companion planting, using mulch to save water, or inviting beneficial insects into your space. The tools are out there. The future of farming might just be rooted in the past. If this opened your eyes, hit that like button. If you're ready to grow better food without chemicals, drop a comment below. What one Amish technique are you going to try first? Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.